it's Kristin from Kristin Tatwan Photography, and today we are going to talk about curves layers. This is just a very simple, quick method of increasing contrast and creating more dynamic color in your images. So what I'm going to do is go to my little half-filled circle here, and I'm going to select curves. And what that does is that brings up your image's histogram. And what histogram is a chart that basically delineates the black, grays, and whites in your image. And you see along the grid here, your image is broken down into this grid. So this line right here, this is your curve, is what controls your red channel, your green channel, and your blue channel. So for this specific image, when I look at this image, I see that there is just a bit of a haze, and I want to make my black point a little bit more bold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the lowest point on my master curve, and I'm going to draw it in just a hair. And you can see that that just creates a little bit more contrast there. And just for the sake of example, I'm going to kind of show you how this curve controls this image. If you bring it into the middle here, you're controlling the gray point, which is basically your shadows and the kind of mid-range exposure. So if you grab this point here and say if you had a darker image, sometimes I like to use curves to kind of bring the exposure up without actually adjusting the exposure, because what I'm doing is I'm adjusting the color layers instead of actually adjusting how the image is exposed. So you can see when you adjust that midpoint gray there that I can either go really bright or I can go darker. So if I had an overexposed image, I might adjust that down just a little bit. Now when you're adjusting an overexposed image, you're going to find that you have a little bit less control over the integrity of that image because you lose a lot of information when it's blown out. The next thing I'm going to show you is just a really quick, cool, artistic thing that you can fiddle around with. It's called a cross process. You're also doing this in your curves layer. And this is something that I do with just about all of my images. I am very minimal with it these days. There are lots of different schools of thought on artistic editing, and in my philosophy, less is more. But again, this is just another way for you to gain some control over the vibrance of your image and make it a little bit more impactful. So this drop down up here defaults to all three channels: the red channel, the green channel, and the black channel. I'm sorry, the blue channel. And what I want to do to create a simple cross process is select the red layer and create a very gentle S-curve there. Then I'm going to go to the green layer and I'm going to do the exact same thing. And then I'm going to go to the blue layer, and this is where the term cross process comes in. You're going to modify the blue layer the exact opposite of what you did with the red and the green layer. Now this looks really extreme on this image, as you can see, and so when you toggle between having that layer activated and having it deactivated, you can see how big of an impact that actually has on that image. So that's where the opacity of the layer is really important, and you can bring the opacity of that layer down far enough where it's not going to have as big of an impact on the image. For this, once you adjust your opacity down to your liking, You can come in here and make some more fine adjustments to finalize your image, and there you have it. It's a simple cross process, a simple modification of the master curve so that you are applying contrast to your images in a different way. I hope you have enjoyed yet another one of my tutorials. I'm still a little bit choppy, so bear with me, and I hope to hear from all of you very soon. Thanks so much for listening and watching.